Peace of the levels and paths, and thus swiftly attain the state of Vajradhara. Oh, I got this new phone and it doesn't do what the other one does that easily. Okay. Let's just do the 4 limitless contemplations, Burn, please. Okay. May all beings have happiness and create the causes of happiness. May they all be free from suffering and creating the causes of suffering. May they find that noble happiness which can never be tainted by suffering. May they attain universal impartial compassion, free of worldly bias towards friends and enemies. Semjen damje dewatang dewe jutang demba jute dungal tang dungal chichu tang drawa jut Dungal mepe dewa tampatang minra wajitik nearing chaktang nitandrawe tangnung jempo lane pa juche. Okay, so I'm trying to get this computer in the shade. It's not really working, because otherwise it's going to actually give up on me if I don't put it in the shade. So I'm just going to turn as the sun turns, and it should be okay sooner or later. Okay, so today I've called the teaching, it's still, of course, the copper-colored mountain, but I've called the copper-colored mountains reveal the truth of who we are. And this is part 4. And if you've missed the others, please don't miss sessions, because each of these stanzas of this prayer is really, really important in terms of our practice, in terms of looking at ourselves, and in terms of our actual practice. They really, really are very, very important. So the more we study these teachings, the more we understand who we are and what our true purpose is in this life. We're so busy in our daily lives, but at night, will you do that, Bern? But at night, before we go to sleep, every night we should ask ourselves the very important question: how many people's lives have I touched that day, even in the tiny things we did? And why should we ask this question? Because in part 1, when we started right at the beginning, I read to you Dajjam Lingpa's experience of traveling to the copper-colored mountain. And he met Guru Rinpoche. And I want to take 2 quotes out of it, because I read you a lot that night, to remind us of the importance of meeting with this teaching. It's not coincidence that you're all meeting with this precious teaching. And don't waste this opportunity, because once it's gone, it's gone. You'll never get it again. Okay. And it's really, really very, very important that you get all this teaching in a proper way. So I just want to, I don't know where I put all that. It was all here when I left, but now my things turned upside down. I want to just give you these 2 quotes from this very, very beautiful thing when Dajjam Lingpa went. So the one was, he said, Guru Rinpoche said to him when he was there, he said, these days, the decline of the secret mantra's supreme approach, that's Vajrayana, okay, that we've got, is entirely due to the weakness of sentient beings' positive karma and merit. In other words, the less merit and the less positive karma, the less likely it's going to be for you to actually meet this teaching. Their teachers delight in, that's the people who haven't got the merit and wisdom, their teachers delight in, consider best, and teach to others the path of lesser spiritual approaches, in which the concepts of the rational intellectual mind are valued with attachment. Disciples with little merit will only meet those kind of teachers, okay, where it's all mostly intellectual. He says to him, therefore, I will reveal to you the profound teachings of the great perfection, the excellent path to enlightenment in one lifetime. And let me tell you, I know that a lot of you really would like to get enlightenment in one lifetime, okay? And that's impossible with the basic teachings. And for me, it's very, very interesting because Dzongsa Khyentse Rinpoche, who's doing these monlams that I was showing you the prayer and everything, he is definitely a Dzogchen teacher, and I taught you from his previous lifetime, but he's not teaching that. And I found it so interesting because why isn't he teaching the highest teachings? He's teaching kind of the basic teaching, and if you look very, very deeply, you might find the meaning in it, but it's not out. It's not out like that. So this teaching is really, really good. And I'm certainly not a spiritual teacher or a Buddhist teacher. I'm just a friend to all of you who absolutely loves this stuff with all my being. And so I can only give you what I've got and how far I can go, which is probably extremely limited, but maybe a step ahead of some of you, maybe not all of you. I'm sure Karen can do it. She's just got to put it into words. I'm sure a few of you can do it, but that's all I am. And what Dajjal Rinpoche said after he said that, he said it was as if a precise copy of this clear and stable appeared in my mind stream. And Guru Rinpoche told me, cultivate your experience of the superb path of great perfection, the swift path to manifest enlightenment in this lifetime, and teach it correctly to others. Wow, when you get an instruction like that, and that instruction is going to be less and less and less. You've just got to see, I'm going to relate the Middle East war to some of this teaching on the copper-colored mountain because it really explains it absolutely amazingly. But what I want to say to all of you is it's amazing if you've got the good karma to come to these teachings. And a lot of people will come to these teachings and they won't get them. So it won't be of any benefit. You've got to do it. And I want to tell you about my Chur experience last night because I haven't been doing the Chur, but I did it last night for all those demons that are launching around the world. And I'll tell you my experience of it. But when the Dakini said, okay, time to go, okay, when the Dakini said time to go to Dajjal Rinpoche, this is what she said to him. Kieho, fortunate child of the lineage. Now listen carefully. In the false outlines of this dreamscape's appearance, we're only in a dream, okay? There is no such thing as either going or staying. Appearances change right where they are. Focus on basic space and awaken into basic space. Do you understand? And he ends, she then dissolved into me. I turned my attention to the basic space of awareness and then woke up. I mean, unbelievable, okay? Because what she's saying, the Dakini, is, don't imagine that this whole dreamscape of what you're seeing is real, because it isn't. Don't imagine it is real. It's just a dream. And so, you know, I love your comment, Gail, when you said to me, this is what I've got to learn. This is what I need to understand. Otherwise, what am I doing here? If you can realize that, then it's amazing because you can get all the basic teachings of Buddhism, but it won't give you what we're needing right now. And the second thing, I just want to read you very quickly so we can go on with the text. Very quickly, I want to read you this. That when Yeshe Tsogyal, now last week I was teaching you the teachings in this book on the Vajra mantra, Ahum Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Hum, or in the Sanskrit, it doesn't really matter. And I didn't have time to read you the response of the master on this mantra, okay? The response of the master to Yeshe Tsogyal when she asked him about it. He said like this, O daughter of good family, The Vajra Guru mantra is not just my single essence mantra. It is the very essence or life force of all the deities of the 4 classes of Tantra. He's talking about the higher Tantras when you liberate yourself, okay, the higher Vajrayana. He says, and it's of all the 9 yanas and of all the 84,000 collections of Dharma teachings. This is the second time you're hearing 84,000 today. The essence of all of the Buddhas of the 3 times, all the gurus, all the yidams, all the Dakas and Dakinis, the Dharma protectors, etc. The essence of all these is contained and complete within this mantra. How, you may ask, does it work? Well, what is the reason for all these beings complete with this mantra? Listen well and hold this in mind. Read it again and again. Write it out for the benefit of Santient beings and teach it or demonstrate it to beings in the future. So when we look at it, every time we look at that mantra, Ahum Benza Guru Pema Siddhi, you'll see it in a different way. Did you know that one of the translations, the Ahum, as I told you last week, is the body, speech, and mind? I think you all understand that. Ahum Benza or Vajra is the sublime essence of the Vajra family. That's the mirror-like wisdom, the Vajra family. Guru is the sublime essence of the jewel family. That's Ratna Sambhava, the wisdom of equality. The Pema is the sublime essence of the lotus family, which is Amitabha, Chenrezig, and Guru Rinpoche. Siddhi is the sublime essence of the action accomplishment family. And Hum is the sublime essence of the transcendent family. That's the family of the Dharma Dhatu wisdom, the Buddha family. Okay, now when you look at that, I've told you, if you know the wisdoms and you know the aggregates and you know all of these things, if you don't know them, read them again and again so that you can understand when all of these physically, psychophysical components of my body are dissolved, I will be left with this. If I don't know it and I don't understand it, then that's it. I'll miss it. And I'll just come back in an ordinary physical body all over again to start again. So what I'm saying to you is learn this and know it and understand that there are numerous interpretations of this mantra. But if you look at it, it's so interesting because the 5 families are there, the 5 wisdoms are there in the mantra, the body, speech, and mind. And when you're enlightened, what are you left with? You're left with the 3 kayas, Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Niyamanakaya, which is most of these teachings are on, and the 5 wisdoms or the 5 Buddha families. It doesn't really matter what you call it. That's what is our true being. So know it and understand it. And I can't begin to tell you, go back. I mean, I really, this group is very, very special to me because it's really a consistent group. And I want to give these teachings to you. Whereas on a Tuesday, I'm giving much, let's say, easier teaching to understand, which is fine and which people really want. And because people are very tired at night, so I guess that's the best I can do. But, I don't know how long I'm going to be teaching on a weekly basis. I'm probably going to take it to fortnightly because it's very demanding on me. And basically, all of you, I want you to go along this path. And that's why it's all recorded now, because without being bored, just go back and get there when I've done the 5 wisdoms, the 3 kayas, when you are doing your studies, your proper study. It's all there. Almost everything that I've given over the last 3.5 years is there. So you've got tons and tons of material. And this copper-colored mountain is so amazing because every single detail of the copper-colored mountain is teaching you who you really are as opposed to what you think you are, which is unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable when you really look at it, that we've got this teaching. It is the most magical thing that you could ever imagine. And the prayer for the copper-colored mountain, I've been doing it on a daily basis after my practice, not before, because it says there, you know, in the explanation, it says, when you've done your nondra, your whatever you're doing, you're giving, you're taking refuge, your offerings, your, you know, all your things, your vajrasattva, cleaning yourself, your guru yoga. And really, everybody, you can do this very briefly. You don't have to spend the whole morning doing it. I'm not spending the whole morning doing it, but I go back. I've done it once, and now I'm going back to do it again. And I won't even know when it's finished again. But the bottom line is, once you are finished that, once you've finished your practice, then you read this prayer very, very slowly. And sometimes even take the notes that you've got from it and just look at what that verse really means, because it's so amazing. When you open it up to yourself, you actually understand everything about yourself. It's amazing. And don't miss any of these talks, because it goes in the sequence of the verses, and it's really important. And when you read it, as the one Lama said, it's remembering shamatha and vipassana. So before you read it, well, you already are, I hope, in a nice state when you finished your practice, and then you do the looking into the verse. So you read it, shamatha, karma binding, and the vipassana is looking into the meaning of that verse, just pondering it, and have your notes, whatever notes you make, even if you don't make notes when I'm talking, if you make notes when you're listening, then you'll see when you do it how they tally so beautifully. And the teaching on this is vast. Okay, it's vast, 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 as all the teaching is in the Buddha Dharma. But I will give you summaries of it, and then you should be able to understand it. And I don't want to rush. I don't mind calling it something else. I don't even mind making it part 5, but at least with part 5, you know that there's 4 parts that went before it, and that's very important. Okay, before we go on, any questions, any comments, anything, even from the prayer of the 84,000, anything that you want to say? Anyone want? Are you all okay? Mimi, what about your questions? Anyone? Iga, Patricia, anybody? Okay, I'm just taking that if you're quiet, that you're just digesting and you're doing it slowly. I'm very happy with that, but it must be a pain listening to only my voice all the time, I'm sure. But I mean, I'm like a fountain when it comes to this stuff. It just goes on and on and on and on. When I'm reading it to remind myself about it for you, it just, things come to me. It's the most unbelievable thing. The more I read it, the more I'm absolutely bowled over by it. And it's really affecting my whole life. Okay. And Zandok Paldri, which is the copper-colored mountain, is unveiled, I told you last time, through a symbolic prism. And we need to overcome our reliance on language as the sole means of validating the truth of ordinary experience. The less intellectual, the better. And everything in this teaching is about the 3 bodies of the Buddha. The 3 bodies of the Buddha, this is what I started teaching you last time, the outer, the inner, and the secret. The Nirmanakaya, which is the outer one, the Sambhogakaya, which is the inner one, the secret, which is the Dharmakaya, the absolute spaciousness, okay? And it's also, the 3 levels also go for people of lesser development, people of more development, like the Bodhisattvas who've reached 10th level Bhumi. They can relate to the Sambhogakaya. They can go there. They can go to the beautiful Buddha fields of the Sambhogakaya. But we can do it with the practice. If you just open yourself to the practice. I don't care if you don't even say the practice in Tibetan. I'm perfectly happy if you just read the English. Sometimes I'm in the middle of doing some sadhana, some puja, and then suddenly I think, no, I don't know what I'm doing. So I just leave the Tibetan and I say it in English. And that's absolutely fine, just so that I can really understand. So I'm not doing the whole thing in English, but I'm doing stuff I'm not actually understanding properly. And the Dharmakaya always gives birth to the Rupakaya. That's the two bodies, Sambhogakaya and Nirmanakaya, always for the benefit of all beings. And the oral transmission of the lamas corresponds to the Nirmanakaya, the empowerment through symbols to the Sambhogakaya, because now you're relying less on language. And the secret instruction of self-liberation corresponds to the Dharmakaya. It's absolutely amazing when you look at these three and you really understand the extent of what this teaching is about. It's absolutely amazing. And just to go back over one thing last week, then I'm not telling you about last week again. The analogy I gave you last week is like a face. The Sambhogakaya appears, and the reflection of the face in the mirror is like the Nirmanakaya appearing according to the perceptions of sentient beings in order to connect with them and bring them to some path of liberation. In other words, the Nirmanakaya has the ability to reduce the teaching, to give it on the level you need, to do whatever it needs to do for those beings. When my little doggies do their prostrations, I go like this every time. And I go, now, Yeshi, you will remember this when you are born a human being. Do you understand? You will come straight to the teachings and you will remember this. Do you understand? That's at his level that he can take. And he looks at me, then I say, don't forget. Because when you've got the ability to understand as a human being, you'll remember this, and this will be your refuge. So it'll be absolutely amazing. So the Nirmanakaya will come to you in every conceivable way. One of you will come to me and say, oh my God, Melanie, you know what happened to me yesterday? Then you'll say, I met this person, and you know what they said to me? It had such a profound impact on me, okay? And you won't know that that was Guru Rinpoche or Geshe Tsogil in a Nirmanakaya giving you an instruction. You've got to see beyond the actual physical outward stuff if you really want to understand this. And last week I told you the Nirmanakaya can be a supreme emanation like Shakyamuni Buddha, a creative emanation like a tanka, a statue, a stupa, to connect beings to the Dharma. When I look in this shrine room, don't ask me what I'm going to be taking if I leave the shrine room. But I mean, that thing over there, I don't know if you can see it on my wall, I've shown it before. That Lama Yeshe said, I want you to have this. It was Akong Rinpoche. Just hang on if you could see it. Can you see that on the wall? You can see Evelyn sitting there. That whole thing there is going right up to the ceiling, is the flag that Lama Yeshe gave me with all the pictures of Guru Rinpoche. That over there, I don't know if you could see that. If you could see my painting, I don't think you could see it. But I mean, so many things. Akong Rinpoche giving me a curved knife. I mean, when he gave me that curved knife, I was so stupid in those days. Instead of actually asking him to explain to me, gave me this curved knife. It's on my shrine there. I don't know how I'm going to take all these things when I move out, but the curved knife is what Vajrayogini carries to chop off the heads of people, the egos, chop them off. So, clearly, Akong Rinpoche used to see what I needed, and Lama Yeshe Rinpoche used to see what I needed and give me these beautiful symbols. Don't underestimate what you've been given. I've been given such precious, precious things by the lamas, And The third type, so it's a creative emanation and then an emanation in the 6 realms in various forms to benefit beings. That's what the Nirmanakaya is. And each one is so amazing because we've got them inside us. And it's time for you not to depend on Melanie to tell you this. You must read up and ponder and sit there and study and really understand this. Like I just spend hours studying and pondering. And you know what? I'll be very happy, even if I don't teach anymore and I don't counsel anymore, I'll be very happy to just stay at home in a room, because I really want to master this so that when I come to the copper-colored mountain, Guru Rinpoche can point his finger at me and say, right, to that, to that, to that, to that. Go over there and be that. Go over there and be that. I don't want to be in this limited little body of Melanie, you know, and only being able to do a few little things here and there and everywhere. Do you understand? Expand your minds, expand who you are. Don't look at yourself and say, I'm a little nothing and I can't do anything. You can do amazing things. You can help this war tremendously from where you're sitting. And that's what the Dakini told Judge Mlingpa. It's not about the goings and the comings. You can sit in one place in your nature of mind and effect change in many, many places. I'll give you that in a minute. But then last week we spoke about the Saha world, which is called the world of endurance. And I'm not going into it again, but the fact is we can't see the purity of this world, but the Buddha said that's not his fault. It's because we are so blocked up. We can't see the purity of the world. And I think in this war, you know, I've got so many relatives and so many family that are so involved in the war, and they all make these comments to me all the time, and I can vomit sometimes. All I say is, just don't get biased. Don't get biased. Don't just be in favor of the Jews, be in favor of the Palestinians who are really under these terrorists. They're under the Rakshasas that Guru Rinpoche taught about. They don't even have elections. All the money that was given by the whole world to build up a beautiful, beautiful country for them was used for rockets and underground tunnels, for war, for hatred, for anger, instead of for education and beautiful things. Understand that, don't condemn them. And then there are all these people walking around the world, putting up banners, free the Palestinians, free the Palestinians. What they should be saying is, free the Palestinians from Hamas, from the terrorists, from their deluded mind. Don't free them from Israel. Israel would love to be rid of them and have their own land and even help them to build up their own land. They did it in 2006 when they had a different kind of leader. They actually gave back the West Bank. They gave them all the territory. And then they said, we will help you to build that up. So what happened? The terrorists came in. They took over the land. They used it for tunnels and rockets and all kinds of things. And all they wanted was Israel dead. Israel, all the people dead in Israel. Israel would have helped them to build a most beautiful land. Like when you drive through Israel, I mean, it is absolutely mind-boggling what they've done with that piece of desert. It's actually mind-boggling when you drive through all the cities and everything in Israel. And they would help the Palestinians. So when our government's walking around and saying, free the Palestinians, they're in apartheid under Israel, there may be things that Israel's leaders are now doing wrongly because they're right-wing. But that's not the problem. They've got to be freed from terrorist rule so that they can build up, and Israel would help them happily to have a peaceful neighbor, and they do their thing and they do their thing. So when people are walking around, free the Palestinians from Israel's subjugation, maybe there has been subjugation in the last years with this right-wing government or whatever, but that's not the problem. People just don't understand anything. They just band together with their deluded minds. They don't understand what they're calling for. But you must call for the correct thing. You must call for the deluded minds, for Guru Rinpoche to subjugate these deluded minds of these terrorists that are going all over the world. And then we've got something that we can do, and to free both sides of the thing. I mean, the tragedy for all of you is that if you look at the kibbutzim that were attacked by Hamas and where they were annihilated, those were the socialist kibbutzim. They were the most left-wing people. They wanted peace with their neighbors. They invited their neighbors in. They have kite festivals in which they were supposed to be on that Saturday night. They have these kite festivals in which they send peace messages. Apparently, and I've heard from people really who know, they invite many of their Palestinian neighbors to come in and they do things together and everything. Those are the ones that were annihilated. Isn't that tragic? Doesn't that tell you? I mean, I don't want to use the war to teach, but I think when Guru Rinpoche said, I am going from this planet to the land of the Rakshasas. The Rakshasas are these evil beings. They're not ultimately evil. They're relatively evil. And Guru Rinpoche said, I need to subdue them because they are going to overtake the planet Earth. Now, if you look at, and I told you this last time, if you look at what they did that night, these terrorists, and you look at the description of the Rakshasa and the evil beings' land right next to the copper-colored mountain, it's frightening how similar those descriptions are. It's frightening. Okay, and I'm going to Guru Rinpoche. But didn't you subjugate them? Didn't you finish them? But there are millions of them. So what they do is, if your mind is deluded and your mind is subjugation of a whole nation and subjugation of your own people, they live in a deluded world. These terrorists, they believe that they are doing this killing for Allah and that they're going to go to paradise. I mean, how deluded can you be? And really, when you look at it, I told you last time, our Saha world is on the level of Vairashana's 13th lotus from his heart, which is his mind level. So we have got even an advantage to other universes because we are on that level of Vairashana. And so we get his mind. We've got a very special opportunity, and don't lose it. Don't lose it. Okay. And what is important is we're going to stanza 2, which I started last time. I'm not going to read it. You can read it yourselves. But it's very interesting because now this guy who's gone to Bodh Gaya, it's called the Vajra seat, stanza 2. It's about the Vajra seat at Bodh Gaya where the Buddhas all gain their enlightenment. It's unbelievable when you really look at it because that's where they gain their enlightenment. And the geographical context is, I told you last time, the center of the southern continent of Jambuling or Jambudvipa, where we are one of the 4 continents around Mount Meru. And in there, in Vajrasana, is Bodh Gaya, okay? And 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate eon will attain complete enlightenment there. So it's the most sacred, beautiful place for Buddhist practitioners. And I really suggest that while Dzongsa Khyentse Rinpoche is there, for those that didn't hear in the beginning, go onto your Google the Monlam is October 2023, Dzongsa Khyentse Rinpoche, and you'll be able to even get his teachings. Interestingly, he always teaches in English, but here he's teaching in Tibetan, and there's an English translator, but well worth looking at all of that, okay? The Vajra seat, okay? But what is the most important thing in this teaching is that the Vajra seat is situated in the center of your heart, your body of light, your subtle body, not the heart of your physical body, which is going to die, but the heart of your subtle body, which is going to go on when you become enlightened. And then it talks about in verse 2, and I'm just doing this very, very briefly because I've told you what I want to, the northwest of Vajrasana, southwest of Tibet, lies Kamaradvipa. And that's where Guru Rinpoche went when he left this earth plane. And when you read it, it's poisonous flowers, trees full of venomous snakes, waters red with blood, heaving masses of dead bodies, flesh half eaten. Well, I don't have to tell you what this attack actually looked like from people who firsthand looked at it. It's exactly like this, okay? And also to understand that Guru Rinpoche was not only talking about the outer form of the Rakshasas, but your inner Rakshasa inside you that does terrible things. You just got to look in the papers, in the news and everything, what people only do, you know, with their personal lives and bribery. And someone I knew, I saw in the Sunday Times, or one of those people who bribed a young girl, you know, a young girl of 5 million not to tell about their relationship, a man of 80, you know. And I happen to know them. And I just thought, the poor wife, you know, what are people doing? Why are they doing all of this? Shame, Bets, you look really down for me talking about this. But you know what? I have to. So you can all wake up. You've all got to wake up. It's really, really important that we wake up, because stanza 3 goes on to, in the shape of a heart, what the copper-colored mountain is in terms of a shape of the heart. So Bern, if you wouldn't mind, can we just read that third one? I've only got that much teaching on each verse, so we can go quickly now. Okay? But just let's go verse 3, in the shape of a heart. Can you, Bern? Okay, you've got it. That's perfect. Let's read verse 3. A spontaneous display of a mountain rises, read it, in the shape of a heart. Its base binds the top of the head of Taksaka, the Naga king. And in the middle, formless dakinis offer Ganeshakra feasts. Its peak soars as far as the realms of form that are realized in meditative concentration. May we take rebirth in the glorious copper-colored mountain. Thanks, Bern, you can take it off. Now, that third stanza goes with, you remember I told you that there was this prayer that Guru Rinpoche had given, the prayer in 7 parts. It's called Laduna, whatever. It's got a French name as well. And this fits in here. And what this is about is the story of Rudra. Now, tomorrow night, I'm going to tell the story of Rudra. Those of you that can't be there, you can listen. But I'll tell the deep story. But Rudra is everything. Egocentric, cannibalistic distortions of the truth, ugly, in us. And Rudra in the story has a sexual union with the Rakshasa. Now ponder this. Don't look at the outside meaning. Ponder it. Who sells their soul to have a relationship with the devil? That's how it was written in Christian terminology. Okay, so many people, they're prepared to do it for power. They're prepared to do it for ego. They're prepared to do anything. They'll bribe. They'll do all of these things. You just got to look in our government. They'll do it all for ego. That is the sexual union with the Rakshasa, which in the story of Rudra, which I'll tell tomorrow, and you can get it on the video. But that story of Rudra is too awful for words. And eventually, Padmasambhava ritually slaughters Rudra. It's the Buddhas against the egos. Okay, he ritually slaughters Rudra. Now, Rudra needs to be slaughtered because he won't listen. He's on such a power kick. He's on such an ego kick. He needs to be slaughtered. But ordinary people who are caring do not need to be slaughtered. Okay, the wrong people get slaughtered, but Guru Rinpoche slaughters Rudra. That's the Buddhas against the egos, the awakened against the egos. And the parts of Rudra are scattered like this. From the top of Mount Malaya, each part of Rudra's body that is chopped up into pieces gets thrown. Now, what's very interesting is that each part becomes a sacred place in which the secret mantras flourish. Now, think of that. You say, what? Rudra's ugly, horrible body becomes this? Of course, because we were always pure. When we commit those acts, we are impurifying that. So when it's slaughtered and gets thrown, it becomes a pure, sacred place where Guru Rinpoche threw all the parts. And Rudra's heart fell to the west, the land of Odhyana. We can't see that if we take all our negative things, it'll be really pure and positive. If we take all the negative things in this land, it'll be positive and pure. Why? Because this is a Buddha land. We are still under the jurisdiction of Buddha Shakyamuni. We're probably still under the jurisdiction of a beautiful being like Jesus and a beautiful being like Muhammad and all the beautiful beings in all the religions that people have taken and made unsacred, taken the words and distorted them for their own power, for their own greed, for their own whatever, to subjugate all other people. Don't you think that's sad? Gail, you are concentrating. It's unbelievable. Okay, I can see. I like to see your faces because really it's so important that you understand that. And so the Lotus Light Palace is located at the heart of hearts, center of the Pure Land. Our own heart, the site of pristine awareness and the luminescence of the Kayas, Dhammakaya, Nirmanakaya, and Sambhogakaya, is the celestial mansion of the precious heart. Hello, man. Now, you know what? If you look in your heart, if you start seeing into that purity, you will see a palace. And out of the palace will come these beautiful deities, Padmasambhava and everything, to change the whole world. And that is in your own heart. It's not over there in the copper-colored mountain. The copper-colored mountain is a symbol for your body of light. Isn't that amazing, Mans, when you really look at it? I know you understand this deep stuff, even though you jump in and out and everything. Go back and get the other sessions that you haven't been at, because you'll really understand that, really. And it's amazing because the celestial and Taksaka, the Naga king that's in the verse, is fastened onto the copper-colored mountain. Why? To prevent any disruptive movement that might trigger earthquakes from the underground world ruled by the Naga lords. Amazing. Because if you look at the earthquake places, you will see things that will blow your mind. Okay, so what Guru Rinpoche has done is he's fastened Taksaka, the Naga king, because the Naga kings will just make earthquakes on Mother Earth because they're defending Mother Earth. And when our things get totally out of hand, Mother Earth really gets fed up with us, and the Nagas implement the earthquake, the splitting of the earth everywhere. It's unbelievable. Okay. So he ties Taksaka, the Naga king, to the top of the cover-colored mountain, so there won't be any earthquakes from underneath. And the dakinis in this can be female yidams or threatening flesh-eating dakinis. They can be supplicated in Ganashakra feasts. Those are those beautiful feasts. I've been to a few Ganashakra feasts at Sami Ling. I'm sure you've been to lots, Denny. And they have these Ganashakra. The feast just goes on and on and on and on. And then it's taken to everybody to eat. And then it's taken out to all the poor and everything else, those Ganashakra feasts. But they are important for Vajrayana practitioners. Merit and wisdom is gained, and the negative forces are pacified. Pacified within and without. And what does this mean really? Because dakinis do symbolize the wisdom that moves unobstructedly through space, the activity aspect of the Buddha nature to accomplish the benefit of all beings. Now, last night, I haven't been doing my chirp practice for a long time, but last night I thought, Melanie, it's time to do it. Now, I don't have all the knowledge, all the techniques. I did it for a couple of years and I really knew it well. I don't know it as well as I knew it then. But last night I did it with one purpose in mind: to feed the dark forces on this planet. Now, I'm a tiny thing, speck of dust in the scheme of things. But when I did that practice, I could imagine myself, because what you do is you do the pawa. So you leave your physical body and you are up there. And then you emanate Vajra Yogini, and she chops up your body. You're over there, but that physical body's down there. And she chops up your physical body, and you're watching this while you're doing the prayers and your drum and your bells and everything. And then she makes it into a nectar. And the nectar gets fed to all the demons that are around so that they are pacified, and so that you can turn them around from their deluded state into. So last night, I was really imagining more than ever before my body being chopped up, the nectar being made, and feeding. In fact, in my mind, I was feeding all these right-wing dictators right around the world, in Iran, the terrorist groups, the everything. I was imagining that nectar got fed to them. And when I was finished, I was tired, but it was really, very good, because I was doing it with Lama Zangmo on the tape and everything. So I had all the energy of that. And think about it. Think about what this is, where Guru Rinpoche says, I don't want you to worry about yourself. I want you to give of yourself. I want you to feed these dark forces, pacify them, subjugate them, and then they've got to come round to thinking and being in a different way. Unbelievable. Okay. And the peak of the copper-colored mountain is lofty, and it's the center of a sacred axis, midway point between three worlds. There are three worlds that we inhabit. The world, the desire realm, where all the 6 classes of beings are, the realm of form, which is the 17 heavens of the gods, the God realm, and the realm of formlessness, which is the indivisible gods. I'm not going to go into too much of this, because you can read up on this really, because there's so much to teach you that I don't want to go into this. But the symbolism of the middle as the meeting point is in the religions between heaven, earth, and hell. In the ancient ideas that regard the center as sacred, the zone of absolute reality. Karen, do you want to add anything? Do you want to say anything? You're all so quiet. I know you're concentrating, and maybe you're just thinking to yourself, you don't want to talk, you actually want to just hear. But it's really important that you just tell me, yes, I'm getting it, or no, yes, Karen, tell us.
No, a completely different thing.
Yes. Go on.
It is that I didn't know that in the Tibetan of the day into absolute detail about the peaceful and ruffled deities and the aspiration prayers for each one and the name through it.
Okay.
And then because that is us, we're made up, that's what I'm trying to actually say. We're made up of these deities, just like we're made up of the copper-colored mountain.
Exactly.
So when you spoke of such fervor as usual and passion about the wall.
Sorry.
It's not you speaking, you could actually pinpoint which, I don't know them and I'll never know all the names, but it's the first time I've actually got a detailed list of all the names and who they are and what they are in me. And I mean, I could say, okay, it's this deity speaking, it's that one speaking, and also that you do the feasts and offerings for them. It's just something I wanted to say, is that when we do it, we're doing it for ourselves. That doesn't really exist, considering we all are mind. So when you chop yourself up in a short practice, it's to get to ultimate mind, which is you. That's all I wanted to really say. And copper-colored mountain, that's also mind.
Exactly.
If that makes sense.
Makes sense completely to me, because I do the 100 peaceful and rotten deities every day. That's what I look at. That's my major practice, to look at those 100 deities and see those qualities within us. It's time to wake up, everybody. I quite agree with you. Those are the qualities inside you. And it's time for us to see that Guru Rinpoche really needs, so does the whole universe, needs people who are ready to really give of their lives and actually help the darkness, not by doing anything. You can sit in your room, but by changing your whole mindset and universally aligning your mindset with the positivity and everything. That would really, really help. Now, if people with this war would do the same thing, if everybody would sit and really ponder how they could change things in this horrific situation, it would make a huge difference. A huge difference. And that would, it's people's minds, as you say. It's not your physical being. I mean, my sister said to me yesterday, why can't you go to Israel and help all those bereaved people? So I said, I would if I could go there. I said, but I can't even use my Buddhism if I go there. I have to find other things to do, but I do it with pleasure. If they're bereaved people and they want to talk to me on Zoom, they're welcome to talk to me, anyone. I'd gladly do that if I was asked to. I'd even go into the war zone if I needed to. Doesn't bother me in the least bit. But that's what we're talking about here. That's why I feel so passionate about it and about this teaching of the copper-colored mountain. So what you're saying makes absolute sense to me, and I love it. And keep it and keep going and keep doing all the things you're doing, because it's really important. And together we'll conquer the world, Corin. We just need one open mind, and all of you have got those open minds. You need a group open mind as a channel, and then we change everything. Amazing. Let's do a meditation. I'm not annoyed that you're all so quiet, because I really know that this is very deep teaching. Okay, it's very deep teaching, and I want to give it. I really want to give it to you. And if you'd rather have shallow teachings of your psychology and things like that, then just look at the Tuesday. And not that they're shallow, but the Tuesdays I'm not doing quite the same sort of level of teaching. But I want to give this to you because I feel a lot of you've been doing this pathway for a long time and you could do it. And you, Denny, being so near to the mother monastery, you know, and being there often and going for things, you can really ponder these things, really a lot. Okay? You can do a lot because you really tuned in there and you've got the backing of all of the people at Sammy Ling. So let's do a meditation, then maybe you might want to speak. So let's just breathe in and breathe out. And let's just understand, everybody, that the war between light and dark is really going on in us. All the things that we do, submitting to our egos, submitting to the power, submitting to what we want and desire, submitting to the desire realms, all of those are internal. And this is our beautiful, beautiful chance to take all the story of Rudra, the story of negativity really being positivity, the story of the Buddha saying to Shariputra, it's not my fault you can't see the pureness. It's because you blocked. Your mind is blocked. So in this meditation, as you breathe in and out, I want you to just expand your minds. Expand them very, very, very broadly. Expand your minds. Feel like the whole mind is expanding into space with awareness. Space on its own is of no value, but space interlaced with awareness. Feel that huge mind of yours, not your human mind, opening up with space and awareness, so that when you see all the situations of the world, you know they're temporary, transient, non-solid, and you know that you need to tune into the space and awareness regarding everything on this planet and in this universe and all the universes. Just see yourself today as a beacon of light, that your mind is wide open into space and awareness, and that from the copper-colored mountain inside you, everything can be awakened, like out of a deep, dark sleep, into awakening, where what we started off with that beautiful 84,000 teaching, never let generosity, loving kindness, awakening, never let any of those beautiful, beautiful awareness be darkened in your mind. Even when you're watching the darkest scenarios. I've seen people on TV that lost 4 members, 6 members of their immediate family. That is an almost impossible thing to do. And yet, out of that darkness is a beautiful awakening a way not to be bitter and twisted or hateful or any of the rude qualities, but to open your minds vast and spacious, that we are all in the right place at the right time. And it is really important that we understand this totally and give ourselves over to it. Of your pure light, subtle body. We can call it the zone of absolute reality, the meeting point of everything we're trying to do in this life. So I want to just do stanza 4 quickly, at least the beginning, because I want to now go through these stanzas quite quickly so we can take the whole overall thing as well. So Boone, I would appreciate it if you could just do a little bit of stanza 4. You've got to read up on each of these stanzas in this beautiful book. And those of you that haven't got it online, the book, ask Boone to send it to you, or Karen to send it to you. She can send you the whole book online and then you can read up. So let's go to stanza 4 and read together, slowly. Shamatha and Vipassana. On top of the king of mountains rises a palace inconceivable. Its eastern side is made of crystal, the southern side of lapis lazuli, the western side of ruby, and the northern side of emerald. Within, inside, outside, or middle, it is translucent like a rainbow. May we take rebirth in the glorious copper-colored mountain. Thanks, Boone. I just want you to just have a little inkling of understanding of this, because it's so amazing. You know me and my obsession with the 5 wisdoms and all of that. I mean, here you find it. Each side of the copper-colored mountain is really a side of you in your pure body. So in the east, Sorry, I'm just going to get that so that I can see I don't get the colors wrong or anything. I'll just get that for you. In the East, okay, it's made of crystal. And that is called the mansion of peace. The mansion of peace. So your eastern side of you is called the mansion of peace. And what does that mean? It's where all the scholarly discourses happen. Now you must go back and read up yourselves. I'm just giving you a little stimulation. But all the scholarly discourses that you see in all the stanzas are done on the eastern side of crystal. Crystal, you always see in the crystal all the colors of the rainbow, you know, like my little thing. I can't show you in the light, but like this, you know, it's got all the different sides of it. So the eastern side is the mansion of peace, where the scholarly discourses happen. The West, when you look at the West, it is ruby red. Now, as soon as you see red, you automatically go to the Lotus family. And the Lotus family where I belong, okay, which is Amitabha Chenrezig Guru Rinpoche, the Lotus family, their whole thing is passion for the truth. It's a passion for the truth that they actually have, the Lotus family, the red Lotus family. And the West, which is Amitabha's side, is called the mansion of power. Not power for ugliness, power to use. And it's there because it reflects the art of governing. So in other words, from the red ruby, the Lotus family, the world can be governed, the worlds can be governed in a just way, in a perfect way. And you know, when you think of the sides of the palace, it's so fascinating because, you know, we've got all these activities in us. Let me go to it. The south, I'm just giving you a little today, is lapis lazuli. Now, you all know that's where the medicine Buddha is. So the south is the mansion of prosperity. When you prosper, you're generous, you can heal, you could do whatever you can. That's the side of the lapis lazuli. And the north, which is the northern side, which is emerald, it's green, like green Tara, okay? It's for subjugation, okay? That is to pacify and subjugate. Now, when you look at and destroy all the evil forces and then bring them back, magnetize them back to the teaching. Now, if you look at those four, the East of the crystal, of the scholarly discourses, the West of the mansion of power, the art of governing, the South, the mansion of prosperity, the South is the lapis lazuli, and the North, green, which is the art of subjugation. They correspond to the four enlightened activities. So the first one is for pacifying, okay? You pacify the conflicts and disturbances by really teaching the truth, okay? The second one, the mansion of power with governing, is for increasing long life and merit to all your people. Now, when Tristan Detsen ruled as the king of Tibet, he gave everything to the people. When he got the wish-fulfilling jewel, he gave it out to the people. That's how you govern. You don't take the people's money and put it into terror or something. You hand it out. I think we must really teach this to the ANC government. You know, if they want to prosper, maybe they should stop pinching and stop being corrupt and start really giving it as it really is. Okay. The North, which is for the subjugating, the green one is the North. What did I say? The third one is the South. Sorry, the South is the prosperity. The North, which is the emerald, okay, corresponds to the subjugation, and it is subduing or destroying the adverse forces that there are. But the third one of the prosperity, when you are having a prosperous nature, you magnetize people. The magnetizing enlightened activity is given in the third mansion, because you want to bring the people into this beautiful prosperity that you are giving. So when you look at it, the 4 different colors, the gems symbolize the wisdom kayas of the Buddha. The palace arises spontaneously. There's no distinction of the inside or the outside, and it's not distorted by the conceptual mind. It's transparent. Such an important translucent like a rainbow. Now, those people who attain the rainbow body at their life, Guru Rinpoche attained the very special rainbow transference body at the time of enlightenment. What it really means is that they have put all the aspects into their being, and now when they die and all the negative aspects go out of the physical body and all the physical things, they are made of rainbow light, translucent. And the 5 wisdoms are paired with the 5 Buddha families in their union. They represent the emancipated aspects of our psychophysical complex. The 5 wisdoms are paired with the 5 aggregates, form, feelings, perception, mental habits, and consciousness. They're all in there. They all dissolve so that you can have everything. They're paired. The 5 elements are not coarse anymore. They're pure. And then we attain the rainbow body. And what does it mean to attain the rainbow body? I mean, I do a prayer, a most amazing prayer every day, asking for the rainbow body, because once you attain the rainbow body, you can go anywhere and everywhere at all times. You never have to come into a physical body and really submit yourself to a physical body in one place. You can go wherever you are needed from the rainbow body. And so when that body dissolves, I mean, Ekon Rinpoche, when he died, he was definitely attaining the rainbow body, but he's a tulku. And so he has to come back in over and over at this point in a physical body. But the point of the matter is, when they found that body of his, it had shriveled down to this part, and they quickly took it and did the cremation. So what happens with the rainbow body is your physical body, over a few days of sitting there, you just see this wonderful rainbow light, and your physical body shrivels up. There's nothing left of it, and then you are gone and released. And I think that's what happened to Jesus. I think what they described as the ascension, I think it was the rainbow body. I'm sure that if anybody went in to the cave where he did this, it was probably full of rainbow light, and they were scared. So they quickly made a whole thing of an ascension and all of that kind of thing. But I'm absolutely sure that he got the rainbow body when he died. Sorry, someone on the iPhone, did you want to say something? Because your hand was up, or it was a mistake. I don't know who's on that iPhone today. Anyway, her hand was up, but I don't know what it wanted. So that stanza 4, it's all you. Go and read up on it and really see, because it's fascinating, don't you think? Very. Gail, see, it's very fascinating. I mean, this is what we're doing. There's nothing else for us to do except this. Please. Who's on the iPhone? I'm not sure.
It's me. I put it there. It's Jill.
Oh, Jilly. Okay, sorry. If I see
I put
Jill,
it there because I wanted the energy of the rainbow to go through everything. So
okay.
I've put that vibration out.
Wonderful. I'm very, very happy you do that, Jilly. And it's very good. And if you can take all the things that you've been battling with and you can see them, you know, if I were able to do bereaved work to the people that lost so many members of their family on both sides of the thing, I would say to them, you're in the right place at the right time. Just don't develop hatred and anger out of this. Develop love and compassion, and then you'll get through this lifetime so easily. But unfortunately, all of us just want revenge and everything, and hate never ceases with hate. It never, ever does. That's really a truth. It is. Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to stay for everybody. If you do want to ask questions, maybe you don't want to ask on the recording, but this is all so important. Don't you think so? I mean, it's very important. And it's very important that we learn this going through all the sorrows and everything. And especially with this war, and the war in Ukraine is just the most ghastly, ghastly thing imaginable. Really, it's awful. So let's dedicate, and then I will switch on. I'll keep here a little while if anybody wants to ask or say. I don't even mind hearing a comment or two from you all, because I like to hear if you are relating to this or you don't want me to teach this anymore. You know, if you really find it very, very enlightening, or you'd rather that I didn't teach this in depth, because I was going to teach it much more summary, but I can't, because it's all the teaching I've been teaching you all the time. So let's dedicate. I'm dedicating this teaching from all of your hearts and mine to every single suffering being on this planet at the moment, to all those who are bereft in that war and in the Ukrainian war, and from the earthquakes and the floods and everything else, and in Syria and everywhere. I'm dedicating it to every single being. May they understand, may they wake up, may they use this as a way of really getting to where they're going and to where whatever they've lost is going. Through this merit, may we achieve all-seeing Buddhahood, and thereafter, once all harmful enemies have been defeated, may all beings be liberated from the ocean of existence, stirred by the waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. Sonamdi tamche zipane topne nepe dranam pamshene chegana chibana tropaye sipe sole doa dro warsho.